Hi there, welcome to Mixroom 1, a studio that combines a lot of analog hardware with a lot of digital tools. Today I want to talk to you about my favorite analog tool, which is the analog console. And why do I have an analog console in a digital age? Well, it's easy. It's a great way to stack different audio resolutions together to create a very high resolution mix. Let me explain. When you're working within a workstation, your workstation will have an audio clock. And it can be at 48, it can be at 96, anything. When you start using analog hardware and digital hardware too, like the reverbs that I've got here, all these machines have different audio resolutions. So like the Lexicon 480, for example, it's a 16-bit machine. The Ursa Major is a 13-bit machine. It's a very strange conversion that's been done inside this thing. The AMS RMX16 is also a 16-bit machine, all with different audio resolutions, which means that the audio clocks that all these devices are running on are not synced. When you stack those signals together on an analog console, something magical happens. It creates a very natural and very hi-fi sonic environment, and it makes the reverb shine, and it creates a audio quality and an audio resolution that is very, very musical. So when do I use this analog console? Well, I usually start with a digital mix, an entirely digital mix. So when a multitrack comes in, I'll create a digital mix first. Sometimes that digital mix is so good that I don't need to bother to go onto the analog stuff. But some customers really want me to go on the analog too. And it is a difference. When I'm mixing a rock band or something for television or something like that, usually the digital mix is fine. It's very good. And especially since I've learned to mix on analog in the 80s, it's a long time ago, I can really find that sound also within a digital workstation. But when I get stuck musically, sonically, or with the intention of the music not being entirely right in the digital domain, I tend to switch to the analog domain by having first 24 channels from the workstation split to the console, and sometimes even more. And that gives a dynamic quality and a thickness in sound that I don't get in the digital domain. Not the same. So when I really want to have a quality mix, like something mixed for Netflix or a great label, I most of the times tend to go to the analog console. And there are some customers who really want me to go fully analog. And I can understand that because coming from the analog age, I really can feel what they are meaning. So if you started out in a digital world, it's pretty difficult to really find a sound that's symmetrical to the analog sound. So, well, that's a long story. What I was telling you about these resolutions, when you have all these different resolutions, analog sounds, which are basically resolutionless, synthesizers, samplers, which have all kinds of different resolutions. For example, the Fairlight has a different audio resolution per sample, per key. Some samplers are multiplexing, so they're on a fixed sample rate. All these reverbs have their own quirky sample rates, and combining that together is, and you can best compare it to a forest. When you have a very dense forest with all the same trees, nothing sticks out in that forest, the forest representing the mix. But when you put a little house in there, also looking like a tree, but it's made of wood and stuff like that, and it has a different resolution, you can immediately pick out that item from that forest. So the same goes for samplers, for example, and reverbs that have a very particular audio resolution. They tend to stick out of the mix, and that makes for a much more interesting mix. That's why, for example, all those lo-fi sounds became popular again, because lo-fi sticks out of a hi-fi signal. So getting a mix to sound very, very, very detailed and very deep and very with high contrast, it's often better to go onto a analog mix with analog hardware, external digital hardware, with all those clocks not synced up, and it will give you a better mix, easier, because you can do it in a workstation, absolutely, but you will have to work a lot harder than when you switch on the analog stuff. That's why I have so much of this analog gear. So that's it for today. Maybe I'll make another video tomorrow, because I'm intending to make a lot of videos very fast after each other. So bye bye for now, and I'll see you later.